He strutted into the gym like he owned the place, muscles flexed, ego even bigger. A well-known MMA star, famous for his flashy lifestyle and highlight reel knockouts. Cameras followed him, fans asked for selfies, and trainers treated him like royalty. He was used to being the strongest, the fastest, the loudest guy in the room. So when he noticed a quiet woman in the corner, working through her warm-up in old sneakers and a faded hoodie, he barely gave her a second glance, except to laugh loudly. Cruelly, she doesn't belong here. He smirked to his buddies. Probably thinks stretching makes her a fighter. She heard every word, but said nothing. No anger, no comeback. Just a small smile and a return to her focused routine. But what he didn't know, what nobody in that gym realized, was that behind that calm face and simple appearance was someone with a past far more intense than he could imagine. She wasn't there to impress anyone. She wasn't there for fame. She was there for a reason. The next day, charity exhibition match was announced at the gym-friendly spar to raise funds for local youth programs. Guess who signed up? The MMA star, of course. He saw the same woman step into the ring with him and laughed again. No gear, no entourage, just her. The bell rang, and what happened next? No one saw it coming. Not the trainers, not the fans. Not even him, because in just 10 seconds, she changed everything. So what really happened in that ring? Who was Shand? How did she manage to bring down a seasoned MMA fighter in front of everyone? Stick around, because this story is only just beginning. People were still trying to understand what they'd just witnessed. 10 seconds. That's all it took. One clean move, and the MMA star was flat on the mat, blinking in shock as the crowd stood frozen. The woman didn't gloat, didn't say a word. She just stepped out of the ring, as calmly as she had entered, leaving behind whispers, wide eyes, and a bruised ego that would take more than ice to fix. But who was she? Her name was Maya. Most people at the gym had seen her around, always quiet, always polite, never drawing attention to herself. She didn't lift heavy, didn't show off her technique, and never signed up for sparring. To everyone, she just looked like someone trying to stay in shape. No one imagined she had a history that would make even top fighters pause. What they didn't know was that Maya had once trained at elite levels. Years ago, before an injury took her out of the spotlight. She was a rising name in underground fight circuits. Her discipline was sharp, her reflexes even sharper, but she never cared for fame. After a personal tragedy, she disappeared from the scene, walking away from the fights, the medals, and everything that came with it, until now. Something about the way the MMA star mocked her, how he judged her by appearance, alone lit a spark she hadn't felt in years. It wasn't about revenge. It was about respect, about standing up for those people who get looked down on just because they don't fit the stereotype of what strength looks like. The gym was still buzzing with questions. Who was this woman really? And what other surprises was she hiding? Whatever the answers were, one thing was clear. Maya was far more than she seemed. Word spread fast. By the next morning, clips of the 10-second knockout were all over social media. Gym members were whispering, trainers were guessing, and even a few local MMA news outlets started asking questions. Who was Maya? Was she a former pro? Was the fight real or staged? The man she dropped, Chris, the Cobra Dalton, wasn't just some flashy loudmouth. He had a real record, real titles, and now, a real bruise on both his pride and reputation. Chris didn't take it well. At first, he played it off, calling it a lucky shot in an unserious match. But behind the scenes, he was furious. Not just about losing, but about the way people were laughing. Sponsors were calling. His manager was questioning his focus. To the world, he was the guy who got dropped in seconds by someone they called just a gym girl. That didn't sit right with him. Meanwhile, Maya kept her routine like nothing had changed. She wasn't interested in attention. She showed up at the same time, used the same machines, and kept to herself. But that only made her more of a mystery. A few younger fighters tried to talk to her, hoping to learn from her. One even asked if she would coach them. She politely declined, but then strange things started happening. One day, her locker was broken into. Another day, her gloves went missing. Subtle things, but clear enough. Chris wasn't the only one who felt threatened. Some people in the gym especially, those who had always looked up to him, didn't like the shift in power. And under all that, the tension was rising. Chris wanted a rematch. Maya wasn't saying yes or no, but something was building. You could feel it in the way people stared. When they crossed paths, in the silence between the punches, something was coming. The gym wasn't the same anymore. It felt like a storm was always just about to hit. Every time Maya walked in, the room went quiet, not out of disrespect, but from a mix of curiosity, confusion, and something close to fear. Even those who used to ignore her now moved aside when she passed. And Chris, he wasn't laughing anymore. His cocky swagger had turned into something colder, more serious. He trained harder. He stayed. Later, every punch he threw echoed like he was chasing a ghost. Word eventually got out. Chris was planning a full rematch. But this time, it wouldn't be a friendly exhibition. He wanted a sanctioned match, something official. No excuses, no lucky shots. He was determined to prove that what happened that day was a fluke and that he was still the alpha in the gym. Posters started going up around town. Dalton versus Maya. Redemption fight. The local fight scene lit up. No one could believe it. A former MMA star against a woman nobody had even known a month ago. The crowd was going to be huge. Maya didn't speak much about it. When asked, she'd just shrugged and say, "Let's see what happens." But inside, she knew this wasn't just a fight. This was about something bigger. She'd spent years hiding from her past, staying low, avoiding the spotlight. But now, she was being pulled right back into the center of it all, whether she liked it or not. The days leading up to the match were thick with tension. Chris's team trained like it was a title bout. Maya trained alone, quiet, focused. Every movement she made was sharp, controlled, almost like she was preparing for something much deeper than just another match. And then, the night of the fight arrived. The arena was packed. People from all over had shown up, some for the spectacle, others just to see if the viral moment from the gym could happen again. Lights flashed, music blasted, and energy buzzed through the air like electricity. Chris made his entrance first, gloves on, chin up, walking with the weight of reputation on his shoulders. He looked calm, but his eyes told a different story. He wasn't just fighting Maya. He was fighting to get back everything he thought he had lost. Then came Maya. No entourage, no hype. Just focused steps and that same quiet presence that made people lean in instead of look away. She didn't need to speak. The way she carried herself said it all. This wasn't a game to her. The bell hadn't even rung yet, and you could already feel it. Something was off. Just before the match was about to start, a man stepped into the ring with an envelope in hand. He whispered something to the referee, who looked stunned for a moment, then nodded. The crowd got restless. Chris's team started arguing. Maya just stood still. The announcer took the mic. "There's been a formal challenge issued, not just for tonight's match, but for Maya's status in the league. Turns out, someone dug up her past and found out she once competed in illegal underground fights. The commission is investigating." The crowd gasped. Maya didn't flinch. But the damage had already begun. Now it wasn't just about a fight, it was about her name, her integrity, and whether she even had the right to be in the ring at all. Chris smirked. This was his chance. The pressure on Maya was heavier than ever. She wasn't just fighting for redemption anymore. She was fighting to be seen, to be respected, and to prove that her past didn't define her. And the bell was about to ring. The bell rang. The arena went silent, like everyone was holding their breath at the same time. Chris came out strong, throwing sharp jabs, fast combinations, trying to end it quick, just like she had done to him. But Maya didn't back down. She moved with precision, slipping each strike with calm control. Every step she took, every faint tilt of her shoulder, told a story of someone who'd been in this kind of fire before. She wasn't shaken. Not by the crowd, not by the noise, not even by the sudden exposure of her past. Then came the shift. In the second round, Chris pushed harder. He landed a body shot, then a heavy right. The crowd roared. Maya staggered back just a step, but it was enough to make people think it was over. Chris smelled blood. He came charging in, fists swinging, trying to finish it. And that's when it happened. Maya dipped low, rolled under his final punch, and countered with a lightning-fast spinning elbows, something no one had seen coming. Chris hit the mat hard. This time, he didn't get back up right away. The ref stepped in. The crowd exploded. It was over. Maya had won. Again, but just as her hand was raised, another voice came over the speakers. A woman stood ringside, holding a mic. "Before anyone questions Maya's place in this sport, I want to make something clear," she said. "Trained. I brought her into those underground fights years ago, because she had to, but because she wanted to protect someone. Someone the system ignored." Gasps filled the air. Maya looked stunned. The woman continued, "And I should know, ... I'm her sister, and I was the one she stepped in to save." The crowd was speechless. Maya didn't just fight for redemption. She fought to protect, to survive, and to rise on her own terms. And now, the world finally saw her for who she really was. The arena slowly quieted as the emotions settled in. Maya stood in the center of the ring, not as a mystery anymore. Not as the underdog, but as a fighter who had earned every ounce of respect. The crowd began to cheer, not for the knockout, not even for the drama, but for her. For the quiet woman who showed up, stayed true to herself, and never once needed to prove anything until she did. After the fight, reporters flooded in with questions. Maya didn't say much. Just a few words. "I didn't come here to be seen. I came here because I couldn't keep hiding." That was all. No long speeches, no callouts. Just honesty. Chris sat in his corner, head down. But this time, there was no mocking, no excuses. He finally stood, walked across the ring, and nodded. Not an apology, not quite, but a gesture that said, "I get it now." That was enough. The gym, once divided and tense, slowly began to change. People looked at Maya differently, not out of fear or confusion, but with quiet admiration. She started helping others during training, not as a coach, but as someone who understood what it meant to be doubted, overlooked, and underestimated. Young fighters listened when she spoke. Even Chris, in time, learned to respect her path. As for her sister, Lawan's story had never been told. People began to listen. To her, too. The truth of their past didn't bring shame. It brought healing. What Maya once hid became the reason others stepped forward. Maya never chased fame, but her story became something bigger. A reminder that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it's silent, steady, and shows up when it matters most. And in the end, that was the real knockout punch the world didn't see coming.